Are you a high-performing parent, entrepreneur, or high achiever in pursuit of excellence? Welcome to The Nexus Podcast, a podcast custom tailored for families like ours, driven, affluent, and eager to lead extraordinary lives. From rockstar stay-at-home moms to high-producing CEOs, we choose to model success for everyone we are surrounded by. We prioritize health over sickness, embrace a vitalistic lifestyle, and seek to tap into the limitless potential that God has bestowed upon us. I'm Dr. Daniel Kimbley, your host, and on this podcast, we'll uncover the secrets to living a fulfilling and abundant life, where you and your loved ones can thrive physically, mentally, and spiritually. Together, we'll forge a path to greatness and unleash your God-given capabilities. Get ready to say yes to a life of true prosperity and well-being. This is The Nexus Podcast. Hey, what's up, Nexus family? Welcome back to another episode of The Nexus Podcast, and this is what I want to talk to you about this week. I want to talk about the question of who is the best doctor. Now, I know there is a lot of argument. I know there's a lot of conversation. I know everybody has a different opinion on this, but I would be doing a disservice if I didn't bring this to you. And if you are wondering why I'm wearing a tank top and a backwards hat right now, and I literally just got down on a long walk, actually it was more of a hike, with my wife, here's the reason why. It's because I just got back and I had this on my mind and I literally couldn't wait to go take a shower and then record this episode because I think it's so crucial. I think it's so important. And I think that there are a lot of people out there in the world who try to discourage you, who try to take away your power to make decisions, who try to lead you to believe that there is some savior out there who can ultimately fix you. And this really comes from a place of, I won't give you all the details because I'm trying to let it go out of my mentality, like permanently, but let's just suffice it to say that I was accused of telling someone that I could magically fix them. And I shared some case studies of other people who we have taken care of, who you can read in our Google reviews, people who have had results that didn't come from me typing them, but they shared their own story of what happened. And the long story short of it is that I was accused that I told someone that I could quote unquote cure them. And I will tell you, I will sit here right now and tell you that is not true. I, as a doctor, cannot fix or cure anyone. I would go out on a limb to argue and to say that there is no doctor in the world who can fix you, who can cure you. You can only cure yourself. So the question becomes is who is the best doctor? Well, in my opinion, and my answer to that every single time, no matter who walks through my office doors, no matter who I sit down with, whether it's myself or whether it's my daughter or whether it's my wife or whether it's the amazing clients that I get to take care of, like I'm so passionate about this, I'm so serious about it because you can only heal yourself. There is no great healer. And the question becomes is like, well, I've always been taught that like I go to the doctor and the medicine fixes me. Or I go to the PT and the PT fixes my knee. Or I go to the surgeon and the surgeon fixes my cancer by taking it out of my body. But here's my question for you, is when you take a medication, what or who decides what effects that medication has on your body? Is it the doctor? Is it God? Is it you yourself? Like, do you get to decide whether that medication affects you or it doesn't affect you? My answer to those questions, and this is just my answer, I would encourage you to consider this for yourself. My answer is no. It's like your body decides. This is why people interact differently to different medications. This is why there's a laundry list of side effects for medicines, some of which some people have some responses, some of which other people have other responses, because your body decides, because you have an innate intelligence built within inside of you that allows you to heal, that allows you to express life at 100% full out. And this is my job as a doctor, is to get your body to a place where it more fully expresses that God-given innate intelligence, the God inside of you that allows you to express yourself at 100%. And I'm so passionate about this concept because I truly believe that our bodies are self-healing, they're self-regulating, they're self-maintaining. So my question again for you is this, is that when you take a medication, when you take the allergy meds, when you take the constipation meds, when you take the headache meds, like who decides what happens in your body with that medication? Because I don't think you make a conscious decision about it. Like you have a belief based on what it says on the bottle, but it doesn't always work out that way. Because if it always worked out that way, I know plenty of people who are still in pain after they've taken 25 different pain medications from their doctors who told them they would be fixed when they took the medication, and yet they still have issues. And the question is why? The answer is because of the nervous system and the way our brains function and the way our brains control what happens inside of our body. The same thing is true like for a surgeon. I believe that surgeons have the biggest belief that they are not the best doctors, whether they tell you this or not, because a lot of surgeons are going to tell you that they can fix you. But the reality is like when you get stitched up after a surgery, the stitches themselves do not fix your wound. Your body, your nervous system, your brain has to send messages to each individual cell in your entire immune system and coordinate all these functions of inflammation and healing and platelets, and the list could go on and on and on and on and on. You don't give any thought to this stuff. Like your body just heals itself up. It pulls the skin together. We create scar tissue. We start to lay down new tissue, and eventually we lay it all down enough that the stitches can just dissolve on their own and our body holds itself together naturally. But the stitches do not fix you. Your body heals itself. The same thing is true when we talk about what I do inside of my office. Like people ask all the time, they're like, how does this happen? How does this work? How is it that I've had 16 years of hip pain and it's just magically gone after 2 or 3 visits? It's not because I'm a great doctor. Like, yes, I'm good at what I do, but I'm good at understanding where does your body need to heal at 100%, and what do we do with each specific individual to wake up their brain so that their body can heal itself. Your body is a self-healing, self-regulating, self-maintaining system, but it cannot heal in a state of stress. I'm not the best doctor. I'm not the healer. I'm not the fixer. I'm not the curer. Your body's innate intelligence given to you from God is the healer. And if you are not in connection with that innate intelligence because your body's in a stressed out state, then you cannot express healing at 100%. There are 2 branches of your nervous system. One is the fight or flight branch. The other is the rest and digest branch. Keyword, rest and digest. The rest and digest is the healing branch of the system. If you're in fight or flight, you can't be in healing. It's the same as if you drive your car with your foot on your gas pedal and on the brake pedal. You're going to break down super quickly. You're going to run out of gas super quickly. Like the car can't heal and take care of itself in that state, and it's not going to go very far. It's not going to do its job. The same thing is true with your body. Your body can't be in fight or flight and rest and digest at the same time. Your body can't be in stress and in healing at the same time. And so what we do inside of Nexus is not fix anyone. We allow you access to what's already within inside of you that's been given to you since day one. And if you disagree with that conversation, I would ask you this. When you were a kid and you were learning to ride your bike, and maybe you fell off and you scraped an elbow or you scraped a knee, who healed the scrape? Did you have to wake up in the morning and say, oh man, I need to make sure I heal that today? Did you have to go to school that day and say, man, I need to make sure that just keeps healing all day? No. Your body just did it on its own. And this happens all the time with every single process. Think about this concept for a second. If you walk downstairs right now, if you walk down a flight of stairs, every impact of every single step that you take puts tiny little microfractures into your bone. And those tiny little microfractures have to be cleaned up and re-healed. Did you ever think about this? Did you even ever know that that was a possibility inside of your life? People say all the time, it's like, oh, our body turns itself over in terms of cells every 7 years. Did you ever have to give any thought to any of those things? Did you ever have to give any thought of if you took a medication, of how that medication would interact with your body and how it was going to work and like exactly what chemical process needed to happen for it to work? No. And like, we're not about medication in our office because we believe when the nervous system is not in a stressed out state, you can actually heal and you don't need those things in the first place. That's a different conversation. But what I'm talking about is the fact that you have all of the gifts within you. Your brain tells your body, it tells every cell, it tells every tissue, it tells every organ exactly what to do at every moment in time. Every single minute, your brain is processing trillions of things. Heal this cell, break down this cell, do this thing, digest this food, use this nutrient for that thing, create more energy over here. Like all these things happen and we don't think about them. We think about our drive to work, and we think about picking the kids up from school, and we think about balancing our checkbook, and we think about the laundry list of stuff that we have to do after work in order to get ready for the next day. And like all of these things that we think about, we don't ever give thought to the fact that this system is running an incredibly complex set of processes that you don't have to give thought to. And it's because you were designed by God to heal. But we can't do that in a fight or flight state. And this is why I'm so passionate about this idea of like movement and movement of the joints of the spine and waking up the brain, because when we wake up the brain, your body heals. And there's no best doctor but you. So when I sit in front of people and I tell them that, listen, your body knows how to heal itself, I'm not telling them I can fix you. What I'm telling them is you can fix yourself. And the decisions that you make will allow you to either heal yourself or not heal yourself. And everybody always asks the question, they're like, well, if my body's meant to heal itself, why does it have these issues in the first place? The answer to that question is stress. It's because when we stack too many stresses, our body gets stuck in a stressed out state. Every time we have a stress, we were meant and designed to fight or run away. How often do you fight and run away? Because I can tell you for me, I've had about 15 stresses today. And I haven't fought or ran away from any of them. I went on a 10,000 step walk. So that's one time of movement, and like all these other 15 stresses that I've had throughout the day. And I'm not saying the stresses are bad. I'm not saying any of it's bad, but it's the reality of life, and it's a reality of life that we all live. And guess what? Our thoughts can trigger stress process in our body. The food that we eat can trigger stress process in our body. The exercise that we do, working out in and of itself, is a stress. It's pressure on the system. The definition, I talked about this in our workshop, is like the definition of stress is pressure on our body. And there's a million different pressures that we have all day long, and if we don't fight or run away, every time we have a pressure on our system, our body's going to stay stuck in a stressed out state. And I won't get into the physiology of all of it, but I had to share this with you because I'm so passionate about it. Like, I literally couldn't even get in the shower because my brain is just buzzing on this concept that you have to understand. Like, everybody else out there, and when I say out there, I really realistically mean like outside of my office, is going to tell you that you're broken, that you're sick, that you need fixed, that you can't heal without the help of X, Y, and Z. And the reality is like everything is already inside of you. It was given to you from your first breath of life, and I would argue even before that. And the only way that you can truly heal is to allow your brain to fully be on and firing in the frontal cortex. And if you're in a fight or flight state, your fight or flight hormones turn off your frontal cortex of your brain. This is how your body heals itself. So my question for you again is this, my friends, is who's the best doctor? Like, I don't know very many people who are trying to sell you this idea of you. Like, you are the most important piece of the puzzle. You are the most important healer. You are the most important leader. You are the most important expression of health and life on this planet. Like, period. And it all happens through how your nervous system, how your brain is functioning. So again, I ask you, who's the best doctor? If you got some value out of this episode, if you could do me one of two things. One, leave a rating. Two, leave a review. And I will for sure come at you again next week.